Welcome back to another edition of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show with Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. I'm Andy Morris, along with my good friend Jacob Mason. As usual, we're sponsored all season long by Wholesale Supply Group. Coach Akins, good to see you. It's week 11, Howard week, last region game, last regular season game of the season.
Yeah, it's been a weird year, man. It's been an up and down year for sure, and something that obviously, we've not ended exactly how we want to, but honestly, I told our team today, I really like where we are. I know that sounds weird coming off, 4 losses, but if you watch how we played the other night, really proud of how our team played. We played really hard. I thought we laid it on the line, pretty much all over the field. I don't think we executed great in the second half, and that kind of cost us. We didn't play with great technique in the second half. But watching our effort and knowing, what happened on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that our week carried over to the first half. And as a coach, you see that. As a coach, you see, hey, man, y'all worked your tail off on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it showed up. It showed up for a half, but it showed up. So we can continue to work like that and work towards that kind of effort all the time. If it shows up through the whole game, you really see an opportunity to go on a real run here. I like where we are mentally. I think our kids really understand finally what we're trying to get done, and you see the execution getting better. You saw it especially in the first half the other night. I thought we really executed well. Having Eli back defensively really gave us a spark in the first half. And I think we just kind of gassed out, and didn't play with great mental technique, and that cost us. And, we had a poorly timed 3 and out there in the second half that kind of put our defense right back on the field, and that's not necessarily fair to our defense, especially after the 9-minute drive they opened up with. So we definitely saw some positives the other night. I thought it was the best half of football we've played since Carter. And I think we can build on that, and I really expect us to do that.
I absolutely agree. That first half, of course, Coach Akins is talking about last week's game in Baxter, Tennessee at Upperman High School. The final was 28-14 to Upperman. First half completely dominated by the Mustangs, 14-0 at halftime. And as you said, Upperman came out and played a tough game second half.
And they were a really good team. Let's just talk about that. They were a great football team. They've moved on to 8-1 and have a great coaching staff, but they had some dudes. I mean, they really did.
Yeah, they absolutely have some dudes. Listen, I think you could see Upperman in the semifinals of 4A. When you talk about the teams that we've played over the last 4 weeks that we've lost to, excuse me, we've played some really good football teams.
A Ray County team who just had a big one over Bradley.
Yeah, and won the region. Yeah. McMinn County's playing much better as the season's going on. Early in the season, they were kind of searching for themselves, but they've kind of found their own. Obviously, we caught Cleveland at a really bad time where they're all healthy, and they were able to really play a great game that kind of all came together against us. And then this Upperman team, I'm telling you, I really believe, I know you're going to see them in the quarterfinals. I'll be really interested to see if they don't make it to the semifinals. I think them and Red Bank will meet up in the quarters, and that'll be a great football game against 2 really good teams. But we really punched that team in the mouth for a half, and just weren't able to sustain that. But yeah, let's not gloss over the fact that was a really good football team that we played.
In a very rowdy atmosphere as well.
It was a super cool atmosphere. I know we talked about that off air, but outstanding atmosphere. They always do a good job. And like you said, Coach Kane is a great football coach, and he's going to have his team ready to play. And they came out in the second half, and they didn't change much of anything, especially scheme-wise. They just ran power and counter and did it really well. And we didn't fit it great in the second half, and then we had the 3 and out. They gave them the ball right back after that 9-minute drive that they went down and scored. Wish we could have found a way to get a stop on that 4th down. There's 2 4th down on that drives. And one of them, he had the punt team ready, talking to Kane after. Like I said, we're close. He and I spoke, and our staff has spoke with him since. And they had their punt team ready. And he decided to go for it and knew that if he didn't get that first down, that the game was probably going to be over. And they got it, and it turned into a 16-play drive.
Completely changing the momentum.
Yeah, then we go 3 and out, and they get the ball right back, and they score first play of the 4th quarter. And we just weren't able to sustain anything in the second half. And it comes a little bit from technique. It comes a little bit from execution. And I think if we can cure those things up in practice over the next, few weeks, then I feel like we got a chance to do some special things in the playoffs.
So real quick, going to go over some individual stats here. I want to start defensively. Jacob, you jump in on this whenever you'd like. Judah Green, big night, 12 tackles for him. Brady Montgomery, 12 tackles. And, of course, Eli Denton back playing defense for you, a huge piece of your defense. Also had 12 tackles and probably not one of his most high-tempo games, per se.
Yeah, I mean, when you miss 4 weeks, you fall out of football shape pretty quickly. But I'll tell you what, one of the plays we're going to watch here is his stop right before at the end of the first quarter. I want to show that film and just how cool that play was. You'll be able to see it when we get there. It's a really cool play for Eli, and he made a big-time stop on that 4th down. But I thought defensively we played really well. In the first half we had 2 big stops on their side of the field. I thought we played fast, and like I said, in the second half, they just did a good job of finding where they could run power and counter, and did a good job of digging our overhangs out, and we didn't fit it great inside. And that's what they do when you run power counter the way they do. If you don't fit it right, they're gonna it wasn't chunk plays. It was 5 yards here, 6 yards there, 8 yards here, 3 yards there. It was just they just did a good job of sustaining that drive, and it's one of those things that's really hard for a high school team to do. I think we've talked about it a lot here. Is it's hard to sustain a 16-play drive and be disciplined enough to do that. So we just kept saying on that drive, hey, just keep getting them on the ground, keep getting on the ground, and kudos to them for being able to finish that drive and continue to be disciplined enough to do what they're supposed to do for the entire 16 plays.
One thing that really excited me, I told Jacob this during the pregame when I was looking at the starting lineups, the secondary, the athletes you had on the field, and I think especially in that first half, that they took away the deep threat that we talked about, how Upperman would like to kind of run, then pop one over the top. Secondary, the athletes you had on the field, having Gio Angeles and Braxton starting at the corners, moving Brady Montgomery to the nickel, Day at free safety, and Spencer at the dime. I was excited seeing those guys all on the field together at the same time.
Yeah, it's a really athletic back end, and it was cool to see those guys make plays. Gio was able to undercut the slant there early in the first half. Well, maybe that was late. I think it was late in the first half. He undercut that slant, got an interception. But yeah, that was a really athletic back end and really made some plays. Even the touchdown that they had, Gio was in great position. The kid just made a good play. You gotta give credit. It's not always, hey, we gave that one away. No, their team has great players too. And number 4, when you watch the film, Gio's hands were right in between his hands. He went up right in between them, and the kid did a great job of grabbing it, pulling it up out of Gio's, away from Gio's hand. The kid made a great play.
Yeah.
But Gio was in great position and did exactly what we coached him to do, and the kid just made a play. And those things are going to happen. We just got to keep playing. Keep playing, because at that point I think it was 14-14. So it's not like that ended the game. It was just a great play by that kid. So kudos to them. They came and made plays in the second half, and we weren't able to execute as well as we did in the first half, and it cost us.
Another player that I thought had a great game was Brady Montgomery. I call him the sniper.
He will do that.
Dude, he comes out firing, and he tackles low, but he's kind of become a sure tackler on that defense. And when it does get to the second level and past the linebackers, normally it doesn't get very far because Brady's right there.
Yeah, I think we've done a great job of knowing what Brady's able to do, and Brady does a great job of doing what he's coached to do. I think that's what you see from a lot of our guys defensively the last few weeks. As we've started playing better defensively, you see that guys are doing what they're coached to do, and Brady's one that has always done that. We moved him to nickel this week because we weren't sure that Eli was going to be able to play. So we started out with him at that nickel position, but then quickly moved him back to free safety. He just does such a great job of reading run and coming and filling the alley. We ask our safeties to do a lot. So asking him to fill that alley was a big-time thing for us, and he did a great job of that throughout the night. But he's done that all year, and he's done a great job. Again, we got him on the ground. 16-play drive that means we tackled them. And Coach Kane actually said after the game, he said, we haven't had anybody tackle us like that. Most of the time it's been, 3 yards here, 5 yards here, 70-yard touchdown. We didn't allow the big play. We actually won explosive plays the other night. I think they had 4 and we had 6. So we won explosive plays the other night. But they did a great job of just consistently doing the right thing and executing. And that was the difference in the game. They executed a little better offensively than we did. And it led to, a few more touchdowns in the second half. So, let me show you some film. Let's go through this. I want to start with Eli. I want to show y'all just to start out this 4th down stop because it's a really big time play. I think they had driven it down. Again, it was a long drive, and it was something where they drove down and were able to get inside our 5. I think they started that drive, that series, 1st and 10, 1st and goal from the 10. I'll tell you what was one of the coolest things, and I actually texted Johnny Mull and just said, hey, this is a game changer. But the LED lights are really cool, and that's something I know our county's mentioned as a possibility, and that's something that I hope we make a push for, because that really changes some of the things you can do with setting the lights to the music and making it a really cool atmosphere. I thought they did a really good job. Their sound system was awesome. Their lights were cool. I think that's something that we'll really investigate to try to bring that same atmosphere, because like you said, it does. You go to these college stadiums and you see all these light shows, and it's a really cool atmosphere, and I would love to bring that to our fans. So,
well, I can tell you real quick, though, where Jacob and I calling the game on Sports 99.1 in the home press box, we had a great view of our visiting bleachers where coincidentally the fireworks would go off right behind our parents and fans and band, and I don't think they were expecting that first round, and it was very low, so it caught all of us off guard, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's something cool that we do at times. We do it behind the field house is where we can shoot those off. So anyways, I think we got the film ready to go, so we're going to go in here. I'm going to show you this first play from our end zone shot. Not going. Okay. So I can't show you, but I will tell you this. It's a great play. Eli Denton was able to shoot in straight through B gap, made a stop on the quarterback right in the quarterback's face. It was such a cool play, and really it really energized us for that first half and kind of led to a lot of stuff that happened in the first half. One thing that I had in here that I was going to show you, but I'll just talk you through it, was our quarterback draw. I think when you watched our game the other night, I think we ran 8 quarterback draws, called quarterback draws. Jackson McGowan did a great job of climbing all night up to their mic, and our running back actually led it as well, and you saw us gain, I think we gained 88 yards on quarterback draw alone. So really cool. That was a scheme thing we talked about through the week that we needed to implement, because they do a great job at dropping underneath with their outside backers and able to take, that scheme that they do and use that against them. So I thought we did a good job of that. But listen, offensively, when you look at the first half especially, Aiden Gibson had several catches, Kate Charda with the hitch and go. I know that y'all made that your play of the game, and I got to tell this story, and then, we can probably move on from Upperman, but right before that, we had thrown a 10-yard stop route to Cole Harbison. It was right on our sideline, and it was great timing. Cole ran a great route. Ryan made a great throw. We caught it, stepped out of bounds, and Cole came to me. I think we ran another quarterback draw right after that. I think we gained like 8 to 9 yards, so it was 2nd and 1. And I believe that they called a timeout. Or no, I called a timeout because it was running down in the half. I think there was like 1:30 left. And Cole came to me during the timeout and he said, Coach, I don't care who does it, but we can run hitch and go and it's going to be a touchdown. And I was like, hey, can I run it with Cade? He's done it more than you have. He said, Coach, I don't care who does it, but I'm telling you it's going to score. And I called it right out of the break, right out of the timeout. Cade ran an unbelievable route. I wish I could show it to you, but ran an unbelievable route with incredible patience, made that corner jump up and spun out of it and was wide open. And you can see on the film, Cole is on the other side of the field watching, and right when we catch it, he runs over to the sideline and celebrates. And what a cool thing for a kid to do. And for him
Future
to say,
offensive coordinator,
dude,
maybe.
I'm telling you, man, like you may be on the coaching staff, give you a headset, but man, what a cool thing for a kid to be able to say, Coach, I don't care who does it. I don't care who gets the glory here. I'm telling you, this play's going to work. And for me to say, hey, can I get Cade to do it? Because Cade's done this. He's been in that moment. He's ran that route, probably 100 times over his career. Can he do it because he's more experienced at it? And for him to respond with, I don't care who does it, Coach. It shows how selfless Cole is. And, I thought we played a great game. We got to do some things execution-wise at receiver better. But I thought those guys really played a great game, and we're going to rely on them over the next few weeks to try to get back on track. I really see, some really bright spots with our offense. So.
And before we take our first commercial break, real quick, going to throw out a couple stats here. Those quarterback draws you were talking about, Ryan Lay averaged close to 4 yards per carry due to those.
And that's without that's sack yardage added in. So, like I said, I think we ran it 8 times and had 88 yards. So that tells you, average 11 per quarterback draw, which is awesome.
And I overheard the radio for Upperman talking, and all night they talked about you have to respect the wide receivers. You have to respect the wide receivers, and that's what those DBs were doing, falling back with them, and it left a running lane open, and you blocked it really well. So it was a great scheme. I think it worked out all night long as well. Cole Harbison has that point guard mentality. He doesn't care who scored. Love that kid. Worked in my classroom, but what a cool moment. Thank you for sharing that story.
It was really cool, man, and really what we need to get to. I think great teams don't care who gets the glory. Great teams don't care who's the star. They just want to go score a touchdown. They just want to go win. And that was a great example of that from our team and from a kid that, I know loves his teammates and wants us to be successful as a team. So really cool moment. Hopefully, starting this week, we can start putting both halves together and really enter the playoffs with some momentum after a win this week.
And those receivers they're talking about, Cade Charda had a touchdown, and Aiden Gibson accounted for the other Mustang touchdown. So, again, they were 2 of the, it looks like 5 guys at the receiver position to have a catch in the game. So, again, compliments to Ryan Lay for spreading the ball around to those guys and working all that with the draws and all that together. It was it definitely can result in something good this next week. So we're looking forward to this Howard game.
Yeah, and what you see is a glimmer of light, and sometimes all it takes is a little glimmer of light for you to say, okay, I remember who we are. This is the same team that went and scored 42 against Knox Carter, who beat South Doyle, who was a state-ranked team. They're 6-3 now. This is the same team that went and scored, 40-something on Ottawa. This is a good football team, and I think we've lost some confidence. But I think Friday night in the first half, you saw a glimmer of light, and that glimmer of light can really turn into something great. And we're going to press that this week. I talked to our guys today, and they still have the same hope that we've had all year. And I think that little glimmer may turn into a really bright shine here in the next couple weeks, I hope.
And with that, we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back with you guys here on the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, and we will be discussing this week's game against Howard. Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, sponsored all season long by Wholesale Supply Group. Once again, I'm Andy Morris with Jacob Mason and, of course, Walker Valley head football coach Drew Akins. And Coach Akins, as we said, last region game of the year, last regular season game. You can kind of look at this one, and this is my words, not yours, as a tune-up to get ready for that Carnes game.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not sure we can treat anything as a tune-up. We've got to continue to make progress at who we are. And listen, it starts in practice. It starts tomorrow. When we go out for a Tuesday practice, we need to go out and have honestly the same practice we had last week, which was a really dominant practice. Like when you talk about, how difficult football practice is, it's hard. It's hard to go out there 4 times and get 1 reward. That's what makes it so different than baseball and basketball. You get multiple games. This one, you practice way more than you get to play. So, when it doesn't work out on a Friday, it kind of gets discouraging. But we need to go out and, have the same exact practice as we had last week, which was great energy, great tempo, great effort, great execution in practice. Because the more you do it in practice, the more it becomes natural. So that's my expectation for this week, that we go practice really hard and then show up Friday and really execute well and play with great effort on defense and get back to turning the ball over. I know we had one the other night, but our expectation is 2 or more. So we need to get back to our goal board. And what does our goal board say? We need to run the ball efficiently. We haven't done that very much this year. And that's a little bit, I think Friday it was a little bit because I got away from the run. And I think we did a really good job offensively of keeping them off balance early. And then in the second half, it became throw, throw, throw. When we do that, they're able to fall underneath those and take away slants that we kind of talked about. We threw slant really well in the first half. What changed at halftime? Well, they fell under slants. Well, why were they able to do that? Well, it's because we stopped running the football. So that's something we need to focus on running the football this week. See if we can get back into a game where we can gain yardage, 4 yards a carry. That's the goal. If we gain 4 yards, that's an efficient run. We need to be good on third down. We got better on third down. In the first half, we were really good on third down. In the second half, we didn't do as well. So we need to focus on our third down execution. We need to protect the football and protect the quarterback. We had 1 turnover the other night, but we had 3 sacks. And our goal there is, that's one goal, protect the football, protect the quarterback. Well, we can do one thing. You can have 1 sack, you can have 1 turnover. That's the rules. Anything more than 1 total is making a bad habit. So we need to take those things away, and we need to protect better, and we need to understand how important the football is. Defensively, our goal is to hold them under 24 points. Well, we haven't done that in this 4-game stretch, and it's cost us. Yep. It's cost us. Because just anytime you give up more than 24, it makes it, especially where our offense is right now, where we're searching a little bit, it's going to make it difficult to win. Third down efficiency. We've got to do better on third down of stopping the other team. I think they were 4 of 8. Our goal is 3. They were 4 of 10. Our goal is 3 of 10. So we missed that one. Defensively, also a goal that we have is to create more, 2 or more turnovers. Well, we created 1. So you can see, those goals, when you don't hit those goals, a lot of times those goals, when you're not focused on the win, you're focused on those goals. The win takes care of itself. We always say if you hit 6 goals, then the 7th one's going to take care of itself. Well, over this 4-game stretch, we haven't hit 6 goals. We've hit 2, we've hit 3, we've hit 5. Against McMahon, we hit 5 goals. And we ended up losing. So I think if we go in with the mindset of, hey, these are our goals, and we don't care who we're playing, these are the goals that we want to accomplish. We go into this game with that in mind. I think you're going to see us make some progress on both sides of the ball. And if we do that, go hit our goals, the win's going to handle itself. And that's going to be the message we preach this week.
So I'm a defensive guy, so I always want to know what we're looking forward to on offense when we see our next opponent. So kind of talk about Howard, what their offensive tendencies are, and what the scheme may kind of be this week.
They got a good little running back. He's a really quick kid. They run the ball. They got a few of their sets where they're like 90% run. Like we can really say, hey, they're going to run the ball here. There's another set where they're 50-50, and we got to know, hey, what formation are they in? What personnel are they in? And based on that, we can really feel comfortable of, hey, they're going to run, they're going to pass here. So that's number 1. They up front, they do a really good job of moving people. So in the run game, they're really looking to move people off the football. Against Cleveland in the preseason, they drove all the way down the field and just didn't finish the drive. Against Udoa, they moved the ball all the way down the field, just didn't finish drives.
And they've got some good size on their offensive line.
I'll tell you what, they got some really big kids that can really move people. I think where they fall short is just taking care of the football. And any negative play gets them out of rhythm. So we got to do a good job defensively of creating that negative play. Being in their backfield, which, like I just said, is what they're trying to keep you from doing. They do a really good job of handling the down linemen and making sure that it at least gets past the line of scrimmage. So we're going to have to do a good job defensively, especially at the defensive line, of holding our ground and giving our linebackers a chance to shoot gaps. So, but they're going to be a run-first team. They're going to make sure that they're using their offensive linemen to move people. And then that tailback number 6 is a pretty good little player, and we're going to have to make sure we get him on the ground, because if he gets out in the open grass, he's really difficult to handle.
For sure. So I don't think I've ever asked this before. You talked about recognizing sets, right? How much film do you guys watch as a team to prepare for that?
We meet every day. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we meet offense for 30 minutes, defense for 30 minutes. So we're getting about 2 hours per week with our offense and defensive watching film. But as coaching staff, man, we're watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I looked last week. I think I had 8 to 9 hours of film watched throughout last week, watching Upperman film. I think you saw the same thing from Coach Ashby and Coach Harvey on the defensive side of the ball, watching, similar 8 to 9 hours of film. So, I think our defensive staff, Coach Harvey, if I say one thing about him, he's a film junkie. You learned that from Kane. Kane's a film junkie. I think Kane ended up telling us that he watched, 11 to 12 hours of film last week on us.
Wow.
It kind of spooked him. He told us so. But listen, that's where you gain an understanding of what is the other team trying to do. And it's very important for a defensive staff to understand what they're trying to do in order to call a game. Offensively, we're just kind of calling a game. We get a feel. I've always kind of gone off feel. Hey, we're running the ball well. And, I go into a game with a plan. We have 10 plays scripted, and we're going to run those 10 plays. Typically, I would say 70 to 80% of the games we get through our 10-play script before we do anything different, unless we get off schedule. We stay on script pretty well offensively. But once we get into the game, it's like, okay, here's what their adjustments are. Here's what we're doing well. Let's go. And defensively, it's a little different. It's more, as a play caller, you're reacting. You're reacting to personnel groups. You're reacting to formations. You're reacting to where they're trying to attack you. And then you try to put your defense where the players aren't reacting. You as a coach react, but your players attack. And you can't do that if you don't understand what's coming next. I think our defensive staff does a great job of them knowing what's coming next and them relaying to our players what's coming next, which is cool to watch.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those things, as Jacob and I call the games on Sports 99.1, we know the amount of time that you guys put in watching film. We joke about it with you off air and stuff, but as we watch the games from the press box and see these offensive tendencies from the other team, it's neat to see how you guys are already kind of anticipating those tendencies as we're figuring them out as we're watching the game live. So you guys definitely do a good job.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's a lot of work, but we care about it. And you can see that just by the way we adjust and the way we try things. I think in the second half we tried stuff. We just didn't execute those things. But you can see that we're trying constantly to come up with different ways to move the football, different ways to create stops. And that goes a lot, Monday through Thursday. It's not a lot of Friday work. It's a lot of Monday through Thursday work. So I appreciate that. It's definitely something that we work hard at.
So last thing I got for you, Coach. Howard, looking at their schedule, they've given up some points this year. What is your offensive approach? You're an offensive mind guy. What is your approach against a team like this? What are your goals? What are you telling the guys?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to continue to get better at what we're doing. Like I said, I think run efficiency is something we've got to focus on this week. We don't necessarily have to run the ball a ton, but when we call runs, we need to work towards that 4 yards per rush. And it's not, that's something that can be really deceiving, because you could have 10 rushes for 60 yards. And you're like, man, they ran the ball really well, 6 yards a carry. But, one of those rushes could have been a 42-yard run, which means the other 9 went for 18, total.
Yeah.
So when we say run efficiency, we're looking at how many runs went over 4 yards, 4 yards or more. So what percentage of runs went 4 yards or more? And we're looking to get 60%. And, over the years that I've been here, we've really kind of honed in on 60% as the number that we try to hit. And if we hit 60%, we feel really good about winning the game. And when you look back over, all the games that we've played here, when we've hit 60% run efficiency, we've won every single one of them, except for one. When we didn't hit run efficiency, we've lost every single one of them except for 2. So 60% is the number. Like if we hit 60%, the likelihood of us winning goes up by, just percentage-wise, exponentially.
So we call that the Drew Akins Advanced Analytics,
Dude, I'm
correct?
telling you, that's something that we have focused on here for a few years now, is we really talk about run efficiency.
Yeah.
If we can keep the box, six-man box, because we've ran the ball so well, then we're good enough at receiver, at quarterback, to be able to spread the ball. But if you get that six hat out of the box, that's where it becomes difficult, because that six hat out of the box means that the throwing lane got smaller. And if you're not able to take advantage of a five-man box running the ball, it becomes really difficult.
Like having to have Aiden Gibson, as Jacob pointed out. He said, look, they're bringing another safety
Double,
over the top
yeah.
to double cover.
Exactly, and you know, at that point in the game, it was late in the half, and we weren't running the ball at that point. But we did run two on that drive that they did that. We ran two quarterback draws. Both of them went for 13 yards or more. We went one for 13 and one for 15 on that drive. So two draws went for 30 yards on that. That's a big time. That's big time
absolutely.
yardage. That's 3 first downs off 2 runs. So that's something we really try to focus in on and try to be good. So we've got to run the ball efficiently, and then we've got to. I think it's going to be a game where we've got to hit windows passing the ball, and we need to be really, something that we've really got to do better at from the offensive line. It's really everybody. Is our completion percentage has been really bad over the last few weeks, and it's not just a quarterback thing. You know, we've had drops, we've had protection issues. There's all these things that go into a completed pass. One completed pass, so many things goes into that. It could, from protection to ball to route,
Defensive coverage.
to catch. I mean, so many things go into it. We've got to do a better job of our completion percentage getting back over 70, because against Carter, against Udoa, against Notre Dame, we're over 70% passing, and that led to wins. So we've got to get back into that realm of, hey, let's get our completion percentage back up, and I think you'll see yardage go up, touchdowns go up, scoring go up. So those two things are two things that I want to make sure we're focused on: run efficiency and completion percentage.
For sure, and you're going to be tested this week on the offensive line with, from what I've heard, two very special defensive linemen at Howard.
Yeah, they got 2 defensive tackles that are really good players, that have high energy, high motors. They don't necessarily play with great technique, but they play really hard, and it's something we're going to have to make sure we really focus in our protection, especially with those 2 guys, and that we give Ryan time to be able to throw the ball. And then once we get into those open spaces, I look forward to seeing our receivers make plays in open space.
For sure. So, Coach, Howard, 7:30?
7:30?
At Howard.
Eastern time zone this week, guys. Eastern time zone.
And it's a 30-minute drive opposed to a 3-hour drive, so that's exciting for us.
That's right. So if you guys are looking at Max Preps, ignore it. The game is not at Walker Valley. It is in Chattanooga at Howard, 7:30 kickoff. And, of course, this is, as we said, the last game of the season, of the regular season, last region game, of course. And it's, in my opinion, a good game to get some positivity rolling going into Carnes to go upset them first round of the playoffs. So, Coach, we're excited, looking forward to it this Friday. Jacob and I will be on the call on Sports 99.1. Pregame show will start at 6:30, and kickoff, again, will be at 7:30. We look forward to you guys joining us, and we're excited. One Valley.